What is up, ladies and gentlemen? It is your friendly neighborhood BJJ podcast, RAF ESPARZA, coming to you with another great installment of The Bullpen, a joint venture between Inside BJJ and the Grappling Hour. And I got to tell you, yeah, we back. Guess what? You couldn't stay away from us for too long. Your buddy, RAF ESPARZA, ready to hit it off with his good friend, Tim Freeman. But let's set the table here very quickly. Tim was on vacation. Your boy was out in Vegas getting some content. Maybe you've seen some of it for the PGF. If you haven't, go visit their website. The good stuff, yours truly. The other stuff, probably still very good from other people, but you can kind of tell which ones are ours. If it has like the border kind of like this, that's our stuff. We just, you know what it is? We need a logo. So if any of you guys are good at logos, reach out to your boy, RAF ESPARZA. But that's just part of the stuff we're doing here. And then I also produced Subversive this weekend. So I said, what better way to celebrate doing all of those things than to get back here and do a show. So I'm excited to get back here and chat with you guys. And I'm also excited to talk with my good friend. Camera focus back on me. Bam. Okay. Not the background. This guy. Let's check in with our good friend, Tim Freeman. Tim, how are you doing, good sir? It is great to see you back and alive.
Man, it's great to be here. I spent 10 days out on the West Coast, going from Northern California to Southern California. I had a great time seeing the homies at 10th Planet Stockton, seeing the family, going to a wedding, went down to San Diego, got to train out at 10th Planet Oceanside with the homies out there, Gio Martinez and the crew, made it back safely to Nashville. And the one thing I was looking forward to this week, it wasn't going back to work. It was sitting down with you on Friday afternoon, talking about all the cool, crazy developments that have happened in the last 10 days in jiu-jitsu. Major stuff. And by the way, great work on those interviews. I was rolling through those last night while I was looking at possible board topics for today, and they're good stuff, man. They look fantastic, too.
Thank you, sir. Turns out things look really good if you go to a castle.
Can I get one of those?
Yeah. You know, just anywhere. Just get a castle and see what happens to the backdrop. You know, listen, we want to thank Zoe and all the great people from the PGF for letting us do our thing. We have so much content that we're dripping it out. So right now we're in the process of showing you the footage of the guys who made it. So 12 out of 20 of the athletes from the PGF made it to media day. And you're going to find some weird stuff, but also some very interesting and entertaining stuff. You get to know them a little bit better. You can find the bulk of that over on the Bullpen pages, my page at the Grappling Hour. And pretty soon there's going to be some individual interviews that go up so that you get to know them a little bit better. Because word on the street is people are like, I don't know this guy. And some of the athletes looked over and go, I don't know that guy. And I go, isn't that the point of the show? Like, isn't the point of the show to get to know these people better? I think the real issue we're facing in this climate is people are mad that they don't know every grappler in the world. And if you introduce new people to them that they don't know, it's like, I don't know that clown. It's like, well, clearly they must be doing something well for us to say they're going to be on this show. And if you really pay attention to some of their work, not just the qualifiers, but some of these people that we requested to be on the show, pretty good at grappling. So think of this as a wonderful jump-off opportunity in an age where jiu-jitsu, as we are seeing, is rapidly growing.
Yeah, definitely. If you look at the guys that are really putting in big numbers right now, most of those guys 5 years ago were relatively not known. They were just young upstarts, up-and-comer guys. So just because you don't know somebody in jiu-jitsu doesn't really mean anything because the sport's growing super fast.
And the other nice thing is that you still will get to see a scope of their work. So you're still going to get to see them have like 15 some odd matches where you'll get to see them grow, do big things, and they're going to become characters. And one of the things I really emphasized when I sat down and talked with each of the athletes was, are you prepared to become a character on screen? Because when you're a character on screen, you're not necessarily just an athlete. You're somebody that people put into their stories. And some people even have parasocial relationships with. So they're like, oh, this Mike John, he's a clown. I could beat him. His guillotine's not that great. And I got to tell you, you're mostly right. except for the fact that his guillotine is pretty good. So what you kind of develop at this point is a relationship with these people that you've never met, but somehow are very mad they're on there instead of some of your other favorites. It's very strange. Nonetheless, I think this is a perfect opportunity to get to know some new grapplers, give them the elevated response that they deserve in a sport that continues to grow. So, hey, come along for the ride, because I think you guys have seen this enough times where the PGF has incredibly insane moments happening. So that's my selling point to you guys out here. And there's already a couple personalities, if you watch those videos, that really start to break out, and you haven't even seen them all yet. So be prepared, because we've got somebody who, one person had Keith Krikorian at 17 energy. And I won't say who, but I think if you watch them, you might figure out who it is.
Yeah.
You think you'd have that one, Tim?
Yeah, I spotted it. Pick me. Take me home.
There's a little bit of me looking at that kid being like, I've met you before, young man. Yeah.
Don't leave me in the shelter.
You know what it is? It's that I feel like the spirit of Keith is just something that happens every so often, where it just leaves out of his body, goes to the next host. Mm-hmm. And then they're just like, Mr. Esparza. And I go, oh, I've heard that before.
Yeah, just what happens to Keith? That's the question.
I mean, Keith now is a star, and we're going to get to what he is up to next. But why don't we go ahead and advance now to the board itself, because, Tim, we have things to talk about in our 2-week hiatus. The first of which is a very interesting thing, which is that, yes, Who's Number 128 is going down here in California at Costa Mesa. And from top to bottom, there are some very interesting matches. And we're excited to see them make a return back to California out of their usual Texas digs. Tim, what can you tell us about tonight's Who's Number 1 and what we should be looking out for?
Well, it's a banger of an event. And I got to say, Who's Number 1 has done a pretty good job of putting on very entertaining cards. This is a big deal because this is going to be Mika's big match after his big contract, and he's going up against Jonatas Gracie. And Jonatas has been really putting heat on. He's got great pressure. And the question is, like, can Jonatas dethrone Mika? Who knows? We know he's coming for it. You know he's going to be prepared, but Mika's a very, very difficult puzzle to solve. So that's going to be a great fight. Beyond that, there's some really compelling matchups on the card, specifically Shanji Hibero versus Kit Dale. I really want to see this because Shanji is very much kind of thought of as, and this is not like diminutive, but it's old guard, right? That's like the last guard that just the previous generation. He's right at that point, I think, where people view him. Obviously, he's Hall of Fame. Amazing. We just saw him have a fantastic outing against Richie Martinez just a few weeks back. Kit Dale hasn't been super active in a while. I think this might be his comeback match. He might have had one previously, but I think this might be his comeback. And he's very much not traditional. He's very much like, I don't drill, mate. I do nothing. I shave my head. I get fat. I get buff. I get fat. I grow a beard. I shave it off. I come back. I go away. So I'm intrigued. I want to see it. Paige Yvette and Kwani Ramos, powerhouse matchup. We just got to hang out last week in San Diego with Paige and Sloan. Great people, man. And she's ready. She's been putting work in. So I'm really interested in seeing how this shakes up. What I'd like to see out of Who's Number 1 is a little more of like an understanding of what happens on this card. Like, how is it going to affect the next? Like, where is all this at? It just seems like they have compelling matchups, but I want to see a little bit of thread of continuity through it. But great stuff tonight, 7:00 Central. Don't miss it.
I might. I mean,
I might too. No, we're watching it. We're watching Paige. My wife told me we're watching Paige.
Big shout out to Keith as well. But I did want to say very quickly, coming back to your idea about Kit Dale. Kit just did commentary with me over at Subversive. So it was me and Kendall and Kit. I believe Kendall will be on the call tonight as well. But that was really, really fun to see. And Bobby has a great note here, which was, there was some confusion on what exactly he did, but Kit had some great performances at CJI trials over in Australia. And I should say this. If you've never had the opportunity to roll with Kit Dale, he's still incredibly sharp. So this is a fun match. He had a match for us at Subversive, his first big match back. He had it against Blake Builder a couple months ago, back in March. And he still looked good. There's a polish to what it is he does. And whether or not you believe his drilling versus not drilling works, it works for him, because even taking that long of a layoff, it works. Now, just to make sure we don't pick a side here, it works for Kit. I don't know that it works for every other human being. I think what ends up happening is sometimes my boy Kit will go, hey, this is the only way to do it because I know, because I did it. And I go, okay. I did it too, Kit, and I got worse. So I don't know that drilling versus not drilling is 100% some game, but I'm very happy it worked for you. Nonetheless, he was a delight to do commentary with. So big shout out to my co-commentator for Subversive last week. I hope you do well, sir. I'll be looking out. All right, let's go to this. We're going to go to our next topic here, advancing the board just a little bit. This name, UFC-BJJ. I have some thoughts, but I'd first like to point out what good is happening from this. So I put time on the clock, and I'd love to hear, Tim, for you to give us an overall summary of what exactly we have to look forward to starting next Monday for all things UFC and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Well, yes, I'll do my best. Thank you. A very big swerve out of the UFC, in my opinion. I know there were rumors, and I know there's some rumblings, and I know there was some like chatter and talk, and there's going to be, we were calling it tug and kind of joking, and we weren't really sure. It's like, what's going to happen? And then Mikey pulled out of his match against Gio because suddenly everything became like immediate. We must do this week or we will never be able to do it, right? So it was a little bit unclear, mysterious, and then the big announcement comes out, and it's a pivot. In my opinion, it's a pivot. Fight Pass Invitational. When's the next one going to be? Will there be a next one? That's a question that nobody's talking about. That, like, what happened to Fight Pass Invitational, actually? Where's that going? But this is UFC-BJJ, road to the title. The UFC's putting their weight behind this. This is not like a side project on Fight Pass. This is a project that has attention all the way to the top in the UFC. And you could see the UFC machine is starting to parrot that message out about BJJ. That's great for us. But this is going to be a road to the title. It's going to be two teams, lightweight and a welterweight team. It's going to run much like you're used to seeing on The Ultimate Fighter. If you watch that show, there'll be weekly matchups. I believe this one's going to come out like every day, so we might see it every day. But more or less, they're going to whittle down the competitors until there's a couple guys left. They'll have a big championship fight. I think that's on June 25th, I think. And then that'll be it. Mikey Musumeci is kind of the key star of this. The guy that they brought in, I'm looking for his name. And I don't mean this as a knock.
No. That proves the point. How dare you?
Yes.
Listen,
I know.
All
exactly.
due respect to this man. We don't know who you are, and you don't know who I am. So this is a two-way street. The difference is the UFC didn't try and put this face in the middle of everybody and say, this is the coach. Also, if you put me as a head coach, you'd be like, I don't know that I make a good match with Mikey. Is it that hard to find somebody for Mikey Musumeci? And the worst part is, I again mean all due respect here. Some of the participants in there are more well-known than that human being. I think it's a huge upside. A huge upside for that gentleman. I'm sorry, all due respect, I don't know that man. I'm trying to figure out here how we convey getting so excited for Gio versus this man, Mikey Musumeci, who we know, and saying, get excited for this as a Fight Pass Invitational match. Then saying we have to rush production because, surprise, even though the very well-documented and well-established week that is International Fight Week, that is months in advance, didn't happen out of surprise. If you were trying to reach that week, you had months to do it. You made this announcement back in September. Grapplers will literally show up in a heartbeat. And you told us there's an urgency. We have to drop the match that you made us get excited for, which was Gio versus Mikey. Then when you do that, You put up another dude and you're thinking, well, it's got to be somebody big that they got. And it's somebody who I don't know. Okay, that's maybe on me. But he's well known for his IBJJF credentials, not exactly his no-gi credentials, which begs the question, title shot? Okay, I can take that journey too. The issue I have is, then you have somebody like Gio saying, why wouldn't you just make me coach? And that's maybe on a given day, not that important of a question, but the fact that you were going to promote this fight is now the main question. Why didn't you tell us this marquee guy who may be not the person you're looking for as a regular competitor in UFC-BJJ, not somebody you would have had as a coach against him? It just, too many red flags, too many insane things. If you're talking about a better matchup, maybe he might be a better matchup for Mikey, but I don't see the evidence for it. And we could all be wrong here, but we will not be wrong on the name marquee value, because in that regard, they're putting up 3 titles is what they're saying. So it's the bantamweight that Mikey and him are fighting for. And then they have 2 other divisions, and that's the 8-person brackets that they're constructing. So they're trying to basically award 3 championship belts in one night. The YouTube starts daily, starting next Monday at noon. So when they say this is rushed and they had to cut that match, there's a lot that makes me wonder about the rollout of UFC-BJJ. And all of the rumors and conjecture, all the stuff we've heard about Gordon and Craig, and Gordon won't give Craig the time of day. Okay, bye. Then you look at the idea of Craig versus anybody else. Okay, they're not interested in that. Now that's why Craig's going to start trolling you. Okay, move that out of the way. Mikey versus Gio. I mean, if you weren't really interested in selling us it as a match, why wouldn't you then take the extra plunge of just making them coaches? So it just shows me the amount of faith they didn't have in this. But all of these things to say, I'm very excited for the people they did pick. There are a handful of people, Tim, who they have picked in these divisions. Can you identify who those people are and maybe tell us why we're more excited for those matchups than we would be for their current bantamweight title?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We just talked about Keith Krikorian. All around amazing human being, a guy that you and I have literally seen go from like blue belt to amazing competitor black belt and really put the work in. So if anybody deserves to be there, Keith deserves to be there. Gianni Grippo, again, another guy that's a workhorse, always shows up, always puts out. We got Josh Cisneros, another big name, 2024 ADCC bronze. Carlos Enrique, 2023 Nogi Pans champion. And of course, we got some CJI1 vets. We got Andrew Tackett, Jason Nolf, Andy Varela, Davis Asare, and then we got some PG. We have Mr. PGF himself, Elijah Carlton, the bad boy of the PGF, and I'm happy for Elijah. Hell yeah, Elijah. Congratulations to you, sir. I think you deserve to be there. I'm glad that you're there. Aaron Wilson, another friend of the show, Nathan Haddad. So, or Haddad. I think it's Haddad. I always mess your name up.
He changes it every time. We know that.
I feel like it's a game he's playing with us, you know. Pretty soon he's going to say, there's no D's in my name. You're all saying it wrong. But yeah, so some big names, right? And no disrespect to the other coach. But man, you know, Harrison Gabriel's the coach. It was rushed, and it feels like it was actually disjointed from anything that had to do with Fight Pass. It almost just seems like it was a whole nother thing that just came in. And there's no word from Gordon. Like, Gordon was part of this, and now Gordon's not part of it. My speculation, and I will speculate, I don't care, is that there was some kind of falling out or contractual dispute between Gordon and the UFC, and it might have slowed everything down. And maybe they felt like they had to pull the trigger with PGF coming up, CJI's coming up, fight weeks coming up. There's a lot of things going on. So feels a little odd, but I don't think they care if the jiu-jitsu community loves it. I think what they want to do is put this out in front of the mass crowd and see if they could pick those off, because the mass crowd doesn't know Harrison Gabriel from Mikey Musumeci. They're just 2 guys on this new grappling show. So We'll see what happens.
Okay. I'm glad you presented it like that, because I have some issues that I would like full camera for.
I love you, Raf.
UFC BJJ. What does that sound like? Why does that sound so like a combination of two things, where it almost seems like you spent no time putting just another acronym in front of another acronym to create one mega acronym? Where have I heard this before? Think. Oh, I know. Would it be WWE BJJ? Who came up with that? I don't know. Wait, hold on. I'm sorry. Is it me? Because I think it's me. Fun story here, people. So years ago, because we saw the overlap of jiu-jitsu and professional wrestling, we came up with an acronym called WWE BJJ. We did it as a gag, and every year we do some series of silly videos at a time where jiu-jitsu, and I know it's hard to believe here, kids, didn't have a sense of humor. Now, you get all these people who do fun videos, but back then, you did a fun video and people were like, damn, these guys don't take the sport seriously. And the idea was, yeah, we kind of don't. Because really, it's pajama wrestling if you really break it down. But nonetheless, we wanted to have a good time and show the emergence of jiu-jitsu in a pro wrestling world and how they can kind of be overlapped. Now they're essentially one and the same, especially if you see a lot of these guys try to cut heel promos in our sport, and yikes. Nonetheless, we've always done it as a gag. So imagine my surprise when, after all these rumblings of, man, you're going to see jiu-jitsu in the world of the UFC, I said, that's amazing. I'd love to see them platform it. What did they call it? And someone told me UFC BJJ. And I said, I'm sorry, excuse me, what? So I'm trying to figure out here. Do I sue them? Do I pretend to sue them to get a job with them? Do I do nothing because there is the UFC machine? I don't know. I'm trying to figure this all out for myself. I just know that name sounds oddly familiar to your boy, who has well-documented people who have been doing those videos for a number of years. And, I'm kind of amused by this. And somebody asked me, they're like, well, what's so bad with the name? And I said, we did it as a gag to try nothing. And we came up with something that we thought was silly and easy for people to remember. They just didn't try. And someone, as we were walking in between food joints, said, what would you have called it? And I said, Ultimate Jiu-Jitsu. And then they stopped and they go, shit, that's pretty good. And I was like, do you see why I'm good at this? Do you see how literally in 2 seconds, I did the same thing I did when creating WWE BJJ? What are my demands? I don't know. Give me free tickets to wrestling events. I think that's it. Yeah, that's it. You guys are all one and the same. Listen, before you do the thing, because it's only inevitable now that TKO owns all these things, cut your boy in on it by giving me free tickets to pro wrestling. I don't even know if I want UFC tickets right now. I'm going to be honest with you. Some of the cards, But I will tell you this. I wish you well, because you are giving a voice to a lot of my friends, and these guys are incredibly talented people that we have either platformed on our channels between myself or Tim. We've seen their matches. We've commentated their matches. I have to give credit to whoever their matchmakers are, because they really did pick a strong pool to begin this with. So while I don't want to get those people in trouble, and I don't think I can, I just want to say, I think this is a big achievement for your boy. So, you're welcome, world. I give into the, you can never accuse me of not loving jiu-jitsu enough. Just saying. Anyway, Tim, your thoughts.
I think you hit the nail right on the head. As you and I both know, I have, at least, I can't speak for you, but I learned all the important things I needed to learn in life from pro wrestling. And life imitates pro wrestling. So anything that you can do that's associated with pro wrestling, if it doesn't exist in real life yet, it will. Just give it time. We're seeing it again.
Can I tell you my favorite thing that people like to say, especially when they find out I'm a huge wrestling fan? They go, oh, I used to watch wrestling. No, you don't. You watch it every day. Look at the political news. It's wrestling. Yeah. Look at jiu-jitsu. It is wrestling. At its core, everything you do when your boss is mean to you, always being a heel. Oh, okay. Did you do something like charity work? Oh, what a baby face. All of the vernacular and the actual things that you know, even knowing the word swerve means that you know what pro wrestling is. When you do a job for somebody else, it's like, man, you really took one for the team. You did a job. If you know any of this terminology, you never left it. You just ignored it. It's there. Stop being blind to it and stop judging people for watching it, because now it's actually cool to watch it. When I was a kid, I didn't know all the people were watching it. And then collectively, when the Attitude Era hit, then it was, oh, I've been watching this for years. And I was like, motherfuckers, none of you were talking about this shit. Now it's cool to say you like it.
It was safe to come out of the wrestling closet, Jesus. Right? It's like, I like wrestling too, guys.
That's why every time I see people being like, oh, these storylines now, and I was like, you have no idea the pain some of us have been through who never left. And even when I paid money to go to Money in the Bank, which was my reward to myself, shout out Brady, who was on the Subversive card, won his match. We went the next day, and I was still like, oh, that's kind of lame, but this is a really good show. And then at the very end of the evening, Nick Khan, the president of, or I'm sorry, the CEO of WWE, I was in his section. Clearly not close to him. Many rows back, but still very good seats. Also, I think I got the Grappling Hour merch on there. And let me tell you how I got it on there. Sideways story this for a split second. I was looking, I saw them set up the cameras. I realized I would get on camera. But Tim, they did something really bad that made me feel kind of self-conscious for like a half second. I was looking to get my shirt on that said Grappling Hour because I'm like, branding, okay, write it off on my taxes, no big deal. And then I saw them set up the cameras, and I didn't know why, but it was a wonderful family that did a whole bunch of charity and like helped people in some very bad situations. And it's like family hugging each other that they did great things. And in the background, you just see me branding out the shirt. And I have to tell you, there might be like a slight pain in my eye because I realized why they were on camera. So you see me kind of doing this like, oh, fuck. Still go find it. Man.
If you're going to mark out, it's okay to mark out for the bullpen.
Understood. Having said that, at the very end, Nick Khan, CEO of the company, walks out with his kids, security breaking up everybody, not letting him through to him. And R-Truth, who had just been fired by the company, which apparently not a work, actually was fired, was rehired by the company due to the fan outcry. The person who got the deal done, allegedly, was Nick Khan, if you believe any of this. Nonetheless, Nick Khan, knowing all of this and what the dirtbags are saying online, walks out and goes, what'd you guys think of that return? And literally just schmoozing with people on his way out. Not fully committing to one conversation, but like talking to the crowd as a whole. And I go, damn, that's a power move. Look at that, man. That dude's on the charm offensive. And it made me say, I have to respect it a little bit because when I see it, it shows me that everything is part of the show. And to me, even when this dude is walking out with his kids and security's telling us don't get anywhere near him, he's interacting with us. So you can't mean to tell me when your boss, your CEO walks out, they're not having that same conversation with you. Wrestling is everywhere. Everything is wrestling. So don't tell me like, oh, I'm above it. I used to watch it. Fuck yourself. Look at the world. It's happening right in front of you. End of story, period. Okay. Breath. Let's move on to the next topic. We'll get to a third topic here. I promise you now. All right, moving on. Craig Jones Invitational Dose is really starting to take wind. We know a lot about the teams, and we're even finding out that a number of these teams have released almost all of their slots. I think in a future episode, we'll go over all of them with diagrams. But for right now, Tim, what can you tell us about the latest developments for the Craig Jones Invitational?
Well, you know, it seems to be a couple things. One is they announced the women's tournament. It's going to have a $100,000 women's tournament. Helena Crevar is the first female athlete who's been announced to be part of that. Fiona Davies did take a little bit, like she kind of took a dig at Craig and said like, okay, yeah, you got a girls tournament, but we basically had to like take you out to the woodshed to get you to do it. And Craig responded back with like, well, put your money where your mouth is then. Like, if you want to do it, put your money up. Let's do it. Which, yeah, just justified, I guess. Business is business, right? But this is a dope thing, man. $100,000 separate women's division. Helena Krevar has got to be one of the favorites to win that. So that was one of the big announcements. The other thing was basically Craig kind of firing back to the UFC. And I told you guys a few weeks back that this was Jiu-Jitsu World War, that it had started and these shots were being fired, and it's Flow and it's PGF and it's CJI and it's UFC. And people are like, oh, you're being dramatic. I'm not being dramatic. That's what's going down. It's amazing. You should be paying attention. So Craig fires back, and Craig goes, listen, man, that ring design you're all using for UFC-BJJ looks an awful lot like the one that I have 17 patents for. I don't know if he's going to take legal action or if he even could. I'm sure the UFC has an army of attorneys on hand, but they kind of did take the format, and I would be salty if I was Craig. For sure.
Oh, wait, Craig, can I get in on that lawsuit with WWE BJJ? Because if that's the case, I think if I come in at the bottom of that lawsuit, I have a lot more like creative. What is it? I didn't get a patent for it, but I literally have established it's been around for about 9-10 years. Oh, whatever. But I feel like I can be of service in that I want money.
Yeah, I think so. And I'm actually kind of feeling like I'm the one who invented bowing before you get on the mat. I saw a bunch of those guys doing that. And I think I need a service charge every time somebody bows before they enter the mat. So, So, Craig takes a little pot shot at that. And he actually called out Musumeci a little bit. And Musumeci kind of waffled around and said, like, I like the best ideas and we take the best ideas and everything is everything. And I love everybody. The Tackett brothers kind of got involved a little bit in the crossfire with Andrew Tackett was explaining why they think UFC is a better deal than CJI. And Craig kind of just exposed the UFC's pay structure for these events and laid it out there and said, it's better for you. It's not better for jiu-jitsu in general. So it's pretty interesting that Craig is definitely paying attention to these things that are happening, and the timing of UFC-BJJ is probably closely related to all of this. So definite wild stuff. I'm more interested in this right now, to be honest, than I am in like, who are the teams on CJI 2? I know they're going to be great teams, but the shakeout of all this is going to set the industry up for the next decade. So
the one thing I want to bring up for this particular case, initially, CJI was brought upon because it was identifying itself as an alternative to ADCC. At the very beginning of this promotion cycle, it was, we're just going to establish ourselves. And then the UFC got involved. And now that whole, we're not going to establish who we are versus somebody else, whether out of necessity or by design, is essentially saying like, well, now we're not them. And then even to the point where Craig's like, oh, I'm cool with Mo now. I'm cool with Seth now. We're all good. Having said that, look on the other side for the UFC. I don't love these contracts. UFC fighters need to read their contracts. By extension, grapplers under UFC-BJJ need to read their contracts. So it's a very interesting set of rhetoric happening here. What I can tell you about these kids, the Tacketts, Fionn, it just goes to show you how quickly you can go from hero to villain status either way, because they were the people that Craig was championing. And I don't feel he harbors any real bad feelings about them. I feel like some of this crosstalk is purely for the sake of roasting these people. And, there is some bad blood, I'm sure, between the UFC and Craig. I do take them at their word to say, there might have been a contract dispute. Maybe they didn't quite figure things out. And this is how Craig yields some power to show him his influence. But from my perspective, I don't think that's the bad part. I think the part that kind of hurts my soul is seeing somebody like the Tacketts sincerely tell you why they're doing it and not realizing it's only furthering the argument for Craig. Like, all of these people are trying to give their clear indication of, Here's why I do it. And here's why can't we like both? And the real answer is you don't necessarily have to like both. Like, honestly speaking, it doesn't make you a bad grappling fan to say, like, I prefer this over this. Because what you're doing is you're saying, like, I like these grapplers, or I like this format, or I like this style. We don't know what UFC-BJJ is. We don't know how many events they're going to do. They say they've invested a lot. They rushed production on this. So it wonders if it's going to be anything other than an afterthought once you get back to UFC 32. Like, UFC 332, at that point, are we still a thing? And that's why I think there is genuine room for concern to let them air their grievances. But when I was reading this, and the tactics were like, why can't we just love everybody? And I was like, well, not just everybody, man. Like, sometimes they aren't good to us. And the best way you get responses, as per pro wrestling, is sometimes you identify that something's not good. Because it might be great for you, but for the rest of the audience, we can see certain arguments. And then guess what? Sooner or later, the crowd gets so loud that R-Truth gets re-signed to the company for real, allegedly. So that is how you yield power as an audience. You can easily tell them you don't like something, and at a certain point, if it's really cost benefit to them, they'll bring back those people. So that is why I think you can get in the comment section and saying, why not Gio? I think that's why you can get in the comment section and say, who is this coach? Respectfully speaking, who is he? And guess what? The best way that coach can really shut us up is if he beats Mikey. If he does that, it makes such a grand statement that sure, it might make some of those comments look foolish, but you can't take away the fact that his following isn't even as big as many of the people who are in that wield of contestants for that show. So to me, I think you would get equally criticized for coaches in the UFC on The Ultimate Fighter if you had Daniel Cormier and then the most recent Pans winner from wrestling. I think that would be a fair and logical argument to say, why are we matching these two people up? Because that's what they did for us. And we're such a new sport that maybe it feels like not an offense. But it's a real thing that I say, if you're in the crowd and you feel a certain way, yeah, you should be able to voice your opinion. So get in the comments, let them know the real response. And we're rooting for it, but we also recognize that Craig does kind of have a point when he does all this stuff. I would argue, though, that for CJI, if they really want to see it through, show us what makes you you. Like, hone in on that, go in hard. And if you're one of those participants of the show, just don't say anything. Craig is too good at trolling. It's literally not the same. Many of you are white belts, and it shows. And Craig is a decrepit red belt at trolling. Like, he has been around too long.
Yeah.
He's using the force against you. Just stay there. Because Fionn, if she's got a great contract, we should all be happy for her. I have no reason to go against her. And she apparently even had the ability to do both in her contract. So I don't think she's dumb at all. And maybe she didn't let those cards out fully. But also, don't be surprised. I've said it before. I'll say it again. The people who look like they're enemies online can quickly become friends if it's good for business. So never be surprised if right now Fionn and Craig are all at each other's ends, but then maybe in a year, they're besties again for CJI 3.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah, you're absolutely right about that.
Let's go ahead and move to our next topic, which is PGF Season 8, which is near and dear to us here on this show for a number of reasons. But yes, your boy went out to go do some work. But Tim, I'm interested to hear what is going on in your head about the upcoming season of PGF Season 8.
Well, I feel like PGF, when all is said and done, you know, every time they drop something major, something else gets announced behind it, it seems like. And it gets a little bit covered up. They just announced the sale of their first franchise. This is the first jiu-jitsu sports franchise team that has ever sold for a 7-figure contract. The team is officially the New Hope Kings. So New Hope Regeneration, they've been a sponsor of the PGF multiple times in the past, pulled the trigger, bought the team. we're gonna see more of this come. And as people start to pay attention to that, the eyeballs in the crowd is going to start to generate around that. And I don't think that means it's exclusive. Like nobody's going to watch CJI. Nobody's going to, it's not that at all. It's just that the PGF is really doing something that's completely different than the rest of the promotions. It's just kind of hard to identify it at this point, but you're starting to see it divert a little bit in what it is. In its identity of what it actually is from the rest of the crowd. So I'm really stoked for BMAC and that crew for pulling that off. It's a huge deal. We got the draft coming up. It's 2 weeks. It's right around the corner. And then season 8, the first week is going to kick off. So a lot of buzz about that. I'm super stoked for these guys. I can't wait to get out there, get back in that environment again and kind of be around the buzz. And, this is like a perfect storm if you're a jiu-jitsu fan. You got UFC-BJJ kicking off. You got CJI2 right behind that. And kind of right in the mix at the same time, you're going to see PGF Season 8 unfold right before your very eyes. So a lot of big things going down. If you're not paying attention, man, now's a great time to jump in, get caught up.
Dude, Tim, I have to tell you, I was there for that. I saw the contract signing. And, I didn't fully get to see it, actually. I was upstairs doing interviews. But I was there for the aftermath, and I got to talk to Kevin from New Hope. Here's what I want to say. I have seen firsthand how much New Hope has done for all of our grapplers and for the grappling community. And it made me so happy to see them leading that charge. So,
yeah,
what you're looking for with this particular arrangement is, this is the first of a franchise kind. Like, if you look at it in sports, they actually say, like, the most valuable franchise, and they'll mention the Dodgers, the Yankees, the Lakers. Like, they're all franchises into themselves that have their own branding, and some are more successful than others, but they are a big business company. So this is a long-term goal for the PGF, is to be akin to those kind of franchises. So my hope is for the New Hope Kings to follow in those footsteps and create their own sort of brand and do their own sort of thing. And if you've seen the way that they've taken care of their athletes, whether it's from the PGF, from us at Subversive, like a number of different facets, they just really do care, and they're at all these events. I know, because Kevin and I saw each other at PGF Media Day, and we looked at each other knowing we were going to see each other for Subversive, and he's just like, see you in a few days, Raf. And I was like, yeah, bud, I'll be just as tired as you. But they show up. They're doing the same travel, if not more, for their own business and for all these grappling events. It's no surprise to me that they would want to be the first in a groundbreaking deal. So our thanks to them for the support of the community. I'm looking forward to seeing what they do now that they have their own sort of franchise that they can do as they wish with. I think it'll be very, very cool, and watch to see what comes from this. So congratulations to BMAC, Keelan, Zoe, Heather for making this happen, because now we get to see what it really looks like going forward as a professional sport. So definitely looking forward to covering that for PGF Season 8. And just so you know, they did release the roster of all 20 of the people who are going to be on this year's thing. I don't know the alternates yet. And
yeah, I'm not sure of the alternates.
I think we're going to find out that information very soon. I mean, the draft happens in just a week and a half's time. So we're very close to finding out a lot of more answers of the PGF Season 8. But a lot of good buzz happening that way. And I'm very excited to see who is going to be brought on this season. And just so you guys know, we will once again have pre and post show elements. Now, how that is exactly going to look will change a little bit from the past. We will still be the pre-show. We will still have some kind of post-show element. But just so you know, doing it in 1 week was easier for this crew. Spreading it out multiple weeks means you might see it a little bit more remote, but the team here is working hard to figure out how we're going to do that. And you might see us there in person a little bit, but just so you know, we're happy for the athletes, but I'll tell you, my calendar is confused as to what's happening the next 3 months. But nonetheless, currently as it stands, your boy Tim over here, your boy Raf over here, we're looking to be there live for the draft to start things off. And that is going to be on June 25th. So June 25th, your boys will be out there. And wouldn't you know it, Tim, a little bit later that day, it looks like there's going to be a UFC, not just one, not just two, but a set of 3 champions crowned that day out in Vegas as well. So it's going to be a very busy time here in the jiu-jitsu world, and that's why I'm glad we have shows like this that we can give some additional shine to make that work. So we'll press forward. More to come here. Tim, this is confusing to me, so I just have to let you lead this one because I don't follow him on Instagram anymore. But, like, what are we talking about as a dress code? In this day and age of our Lord, 2025, who is instituting a dress code in the world of jiu-jitsu?
It's denim tops, denim bottoms, denim cowboy hats. I don't know, man. This is so Gordon Ryan. He published the Kingsway dress code policy for the new batch of students. I guess they're getting ready to set up. They're getting ready to open up. And here's what they do. They define it. They're like, hey, look, we want to maintain. This is Gordon speaking now. I want to maintain a clean, professional uniform look because when you look at me, that's what you think. And then here's the rules. I actually don't think these are that big of a deal. Pro athletes can wear anything they want during pro sessions. Recreational students have to adhere to the uniform policy. Here's the policy. No gi attire. Men must wear shorts over compression shorts or spats. I don't have a problem with that. That's one of my gym rules. We're not a spats only gym. Take that somewhere else, man. So I'm with you on that. Logos and accent colors are allowed. Okay. So, that's reasonable. Rash guards and shorts. Now, this is where people are flipping out. They must be 80% black or 80% white. So, okay. Not too culty, in my opinion. Gi attire, white gi only. Black belts or higher may wear a white or black gi. Rash card required under the gi. So you can't wear t-shirts, baggy clothes, pocket zippers. Majid's not going to be trained in there. No gorilla hands. You don't have to wear their brand. You just got to have their colors. Look, this is part of branding. Art of Jiu-Jitsu does it. Gracie Baja does it for sure, right? Many gyms do this, though. They just want you to look a certain way. I don't do it out in Nashville. I don't really care as long as you don't just come in spats only. It's not a big deal to me. But some gyms do because that's part of their business model and it's part of their branding effort. And this is a new gym. It's a huge opportunity. It's a huge lever for Gordon Ryan to pull on to make money in the future. So he's going to try to start this out of the gate, which is the right way to do it. Because if you let it out of the bag and you let everyone buck wild and then you try to rein it in and make everyone dress the same, hey, that shit's never going to happen. The internet has gone bananas, though. They're like really upset at Gordon over it. People feel like their rights have been infringed on. They're literally ready to get out in the streets and start tipping over cars and fighting with ice over it. Like it's a real big deal that they have to adhere to a dress code policy at Kingsway. Look, it's Kingsway or the highway, baby. That's Gordon Ryan. If you're going to train with the best in the world, you're going to have to wear what he wants to wear. Just like if you're going to go work at Mickey D's, you got to put your little shirt on and your little slacks on and go work at Mickey D's, man. This is part of the game.
I don't know how many of these are unreasonable, but just coming from him, they feel wrong. So
yeah, I know they do. They do.
Honestly, right. That's the problem is I'm like, okay, I guess I could agree to the shorts and spats. I think that should be fairly understandable. T-shirts. Okay. Like over the years, like I'm in an MMA gym, so half the time I'm like, if I just wear a tank top, I don't even care. Like at this point, y'all are gonna train or you're gonna fight MMA. Like, get over it. This is just what happens. Pockets, yeah, nobody should like that. Why is it that just the way he presents it makes you feel at odds with it? Because I think in principle, I'm okay with it. It's the de facto dictator stuff of only certain colored gis that I think, who cares? Like, what about a blue gi? A nice blue gi is very classy. And especially a navy blue gi, a gray gi, a black gi. You can't wear those things. That seems just weird And I don't know, man. The photographer in me says, yeah, it'll make for a cleaner photo, but it just seems like an extra thing. What about those people who don't have gis? Because let's say you're trying to buy a gi and you go, oops, I bought the wrong gi. Well, tough luck. You're poor. Get on out of here.
You got to rent one.
You got to rent a loaner gi. Good Lord. Yeah, I think I'm just more mad about the gi section. So did anybody have any, you know what? Let's hold that. Maybe they've got something in the gallery section we can come back to.
Yeah.
I was just curious if anybody had any good points in terms of their argument for it. I just know I'm never training there, really. So I don't have to worry about any of this shit. But
yeah,
I guess my heart feels for all the rest of these people who might go or visit and go, oh, I only brought a black gi, and they go, sorry.
Yeah, it's kind, you know, there's a an unspoken hospitality that still exists in the jiu-jitsu world where you can roll into some gym you've never been to, and if you give the vibe that you're cool and you've been training for a minute, they usually don't really care what you're wearing. You know what I mean? Like I've let guys borrow gear because they didn't have gear. You need a rashi? Go ahead. You can borrow one of mine. I don't care, man. Just throw it in the blue bag when you're done. Don't take it home. I don't care. Right? There's like a little bit of a hospitality, but now it's kind of like, nah, dude, you don't have your gear? Oh, that's okay. $60, I'll rent it to you. Otherwise, you could go home, go back to your room tonight. Like,
Tim, I figured it out. Took me a second here. The real issue is Gordon Ryan doesn't want to interact with Gordon Ryan fans, and I don't blame him. So really, it's a good way of cutting them out because they're the ones that are going to show up with the wrong colored gis, the wrong colored anything. They don't read well, so they probably are going to have issues once they get there. It's just a good way of saying, like, hey, I love it when you like my stuff, but I don't want to interact with you.
I think you're onto it, and it's a great filter for poor people because really only the broke dudes are upset because they're like, I'm not gonna get new gear. Like, geez, I gotta get new shit. The people with like thriving jobs and they're gainfully employed, they're like, no problem, I'll get a new set. I'll get it right now. I've been looking to get something new. He's just weeding them all out. Like, don't come to Kingsway if you're broke.
It could also be what they used to put in writers when they would say Van Halen only wants green M&Ms, and it's their way of saying like, oh, they read it, they paid attention, but they didn't give a shit if you put it in there. Yeah, I just think it's a good way to have little interaction with the poors and the people you don't want to hang out with, which is really just his base. Smart. Okay.
Right.
Not against it. Nonetheless, we move on to our next topic here, which is that of a roll call. So in this particular case, it looked like there were some things that happened over the weekend that we basically were signing off here, Tim. So it's been a minute since we've been on. What exactly are we doing a roll call for, and what is it that we want to see from that?
Man, you know, I want to take a moment, and while I'm giving mine, you can think about yours, the good, the bad, and the fab. Like, what happened? Let's give some shout outs. A lot of things happen in the jiu-jitsu world, but they don't warrant a major topic on the board and things go unnoticed. But sometimes some cool stuff happens, and something really cool happened. And even though it's in the IBJJF, and I know we're the Hatfields and they're the McCoys, you still got to recognize game. Mia Funegra made history as the youngest BJJ world champion at the 2025 IBJJF Worlds. 18-year-old standout from Art of Jiu-Jitsu takes home the gold. That's not an easy task. Congratulations to Mia. Nice work. I think that's amazing. Equally amazing, the other jiu-jitsu promotion that, for whatever reason, we talk about not as much as we probably should, but has been around longer than all of them, is EBI. And I'm dumbfounded as the rest of the promotions push towards Las Vegas. Eddie and his crew is pushing deeper into Mexico, announcing the next EBI in Monterrey, Mexico on July 27th, and they're pulling it off. It's going to be EBI 24. Hats off to those guys. Those guys have figured out how to go to gigantic metropolitan cities in other countries to put these shows on probably for a lot less money than what they would if they had to do it in the States. And at the same time, they're discovering a lot of really talented grapplers from south of the border. Some of these guys are really fantastic and they're getting an opportunity to shine. And it's kind of, you can bring in the known names, but it really gives them a vehicle to find some untapped talent and create these new stars. So kudos to them. And then lastly, this is bad and fab, and I think it's kind of funny. Great, tremendous friend of the show. And I know, Raf, this is somebody that you have had many interactions with. The one and only, the biggest heel of all heels, AJ Agazarm, is salty at Mikey Musumeci for not getting selected to be the opposition coach. Apparently, it was in the works. AJ published private text messages between him and Mikey, and the last of them is AJ. It's really funny, actually, because AJ's like, is everything okay? Is everything good? And Mikey's like, oh, yeah, we're good. We're going to get this all set up. And then it's like some time has passed. AJ's like, hey, man, just checking in. And Mikey's like, oh, yeah, we're going in a different direction. And AJ's just like, twerp. That's it. So that's my roll call for the week. I would have rather seen AJ on that show, to be quite honest with you. It would have been entertaining.
Well, we avoided a near calamity on that one. God, this is just, listen, dude.
It would have been great, Raf. No, it would have been better. It would not
have been great. It would have literally been every cliche of the Ultimate Fighter. Like, AJ has those seasons in his library. He would have just been trying to replicate what he's seen before. So literally, I wouldn't be surprised if he would say, just let me bang, bro. I don't know. This is why when Craig points out it is an age-old format that might have been aged out. Maybe, but AJ is 100% the pick that would make sense in a 2005 production of The Ultimate Grappler Tug, which, by the way, so sad they didn't go with that. What do we say about these things? Because AJ has the notoriety for it. It's just, I don't know how modernly relevant he would be to pushing the sport forward, because he would fulfill a Chael role, but without the wit and entertainingness of it. So that's the problem I have with it. Because the nice part about Chael is, no matter what he does, wink. Literally says the dumbest shit ever. He put a carrot in the bus. Wink. I think that's a valuable aspect as somebody who plays the heel and lives that life. I'm concerned here that they even let it go this far. Unfortunately, AJ found the first rule of casting, which is, sorry, man, we went a different direction. And the fact that Mikey's making that call may signify the power that Mikey has, which is normally done by the rest of the crew or executives. So perhaps we have our answer as to why Mr. New Guy Coach, I don't know that man's name, all due respect to him, was handpicked potentially by Mikey, which may be explaining the detriment. Again, maybe there's an upside. If it's a fire match, all might be forgotten. But I don't know if it's going to be that way. If Mikey runs through this dude and beats him very soundly, Tim, do you know how awkward it's going to be like, yep, everything you thought about this dude, you didn't know who he was, and I killed him and his leg is dead. And also, I'm a champion now. It may not feel super great. So I'm trying
from the hospital. Yeah,
I'm trying to manage my expectations here. Nonetheless, let's give some shout outs here, good or bad. I'm going to give a shout out good to all my staff at Subversive. Everybody at Subversive killed it. You guys were monsters. We do so much with so little. And, I had guys for the lighting crew and our video crew, the video wall crew. And I said, I want to make it feel more like you're walking out in professional wrestling. And they don't have to become caricatures, but they can recognize that they have something that other organizations can't give, which is this beautiful LED wall and some spotlight kind of feel. And I was so proud of them for doing that. Show was always on time. Our boys killed it. The competitors did great jobs. And by and large, I have to say that's a vehicle that was made possible for my staff. So everybody who was on the Subversive staff, thank you for killing it. Bad? I don't know yet, Tim. I've expressed my concerns about UFC-BJJ, but it's with this glimmer of hope that we can really provide a better vehicle for our sport. And things are going to get way more competitive. So right now, we're only seeing it between Craig Jones and them. It's going to get bigger. The more entities you have in jiu-jitsu, the more competition it's going to get, the more spicier I think people are going to get with each other. So I feel like for right now, it's kind of fun and games. But with the UFC involved, we've seen what's happened to Strikeforce. What is it? Was it the XFL, the Fighters League, or whatever it was? We've seen what's happened with Pride. I don't even know what's happening with Risen or Ryzen. I don't know what to call it.
I thought that was a poison. Wasn't that like a poison thing?
You know what? And actually, if they rebranded it and they just used RIZZIN, I think it would be Riz in because they got too much Riz, as the kids say. So I feel like that's a missed opportunity for rebranding. And then, I would say I don't know that it's good or bad. I just think I'm excited. I think it'll look very professional from the editing standpoint. I think it'll have a presentation that feels good. I wonder if Dana White shows up for more than 2 days. That's a big question mark I have. I feel like Claudia is going to play the role of Dana probably for more than we consider. But if Dana shows up for 3 episodes or more, I consider that a win. But in my head, he mostly shows up and goes, hey, what the fuck are these guys? Oh, my God. I remember once I did jiu-jitsu back in 2022, and that was pretty cool. And that was the last time I did jiu-jitsu. So
who wants to be a butt scooter? Yeah, I think he's going to be there. I heard he's really, really involved.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see.
Hey, if they... You know what? Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, if he's really involved in it, Tim, that's probably where the scheduling conflict happened because he only has so many days. I believe he is a busy man. I believe that he had a window and they said this is the only time we have Dana to film. So if they could do it in 2 days, that's why they brought everybody out that quickly.
You're probably right.
Solved it. See, can't get anything past this giant dome of a brain. But we'll find out. So we'll be tuning in. Maybe we'll do a little recap here on the show next week in some way, shape, or form. You know what I used to do, Tim? And I haven't busted this out in a minute. When The Ultimate Fighter was a thing and we were just starting off, I used to do a 1-minute recap with Kevin Phillips of The Ultimate Fighter. And it was to try and fit in as many jokes as we could about it in that 1 minute. And by all intents and purposes, this is the new Ultimate Fighter. So... maybe that makes a reemergence. We'll see. Nonetheless, Tim, we press on.
A lot of fun.
Yes. We press on now to the fight of the week. And Tim, what do we need to know about this fight? Because I haven't watched it in full, but it seems like some familiar face makes an appearance in here. So what is it we're looking at today?
Yeah, this is a familiar face makes an appearance. As you're going to see, yours truly is refereeing a fight that took place on the sunny beaches. Actually, it's very overcast last week in San Diego. Thank you, California. This took place at Carlsbad State Beach. A couple Tennessee boys, we took them out there, had never been to the California coast, and so they got to get in the Pacific Ocean, have some surf lessons. All these kids are wrestling fools. So I knew when the shorts are on and the shirts are off, these dudes are going to wrestle. Had the camera ready. I refereed it. Stella recorded it. It was a great match. And I thought, this is perfect. This is perfect. Let's throw this out there.
Okay. Well, if that's the case, I have to say, before we start this, Tim, normally we make fun of the people here. I'm a little more hard pressed to make fun of your children. However,
these aren't children.
Everybody younger than me is a child, so they are children. Nonetheless, you're the dad. I will let you have first crack at making fun of your kids. God bless. And kids, I'm very sorry for this, but nonetheless, here we go.
All right, we got the Huz in the white shorts, Caleb in the flower shorts, and the Huz is in on a single. And, you know, neither of these guys did their hair. It looks like they got stuck in a 70s movie. They woke up and walked out, and they're here. This is like the rejected Bo and Luke Dukes because they weren't tall enough. The Huz is on the back here. You can see Caleb's trying to lock the hands, and the Huz gets the back trip. And Cowboy referee in the back just kind of puts his head down and goes, "We're done. We're done with this."
So
not an exciting fight, but pretty fun to watch, though. And I thought it was a little bit heartwarming.
No. It's very nice. You definitely brought your home videos as our fight of the week. Good job.
Yeah, I did for sure.
Okay. So both these kids are wrestlers, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I mean, better wrestlers than I am, so we'll start with that. I do have some qualifying questions here as I put this fight back on. Kids, I'm very sorry. Your dad did this.
Roast them.
Yeah, that's my point. That's what I have to do. I'm apologizing for what I'm going to say right now. So listen, kids, Uncle Raph loves you. Your dad put me up to this. Here we go.
Hey, these aren't my kids. These are my friend. These are my kids' friends. So
these are your kids' friends?
Yeah.
Oh, so these are just two randos. They aren't your kids.
No way. These are my kid. My kid wrestles better than this.
Well, first of all, Tim, why are you bringing other people's kids onto this? If it's your kids, I have some leeway. Now it's just some randos.
These guys are 18 years old, man. They're old enough, dude. They're out of high school. They're good dudes.
You couldn't even bring me your son, who is good at wrestling, on this thing.
He was busy surfing, man.
So then instead you said, "Hey, look at this bullshit." Okay. Wait, so do both of these kids wrestle?
Both of them wrestle. They're both very good. They've all gone to state. They're not bad wrestlers at all.
Great, because we have no evidence of it here. Let's go to the footage. First things first. We're already starting in on a single, so I want to bring some attention to you in the background. Who died and made you ref? Because you look like an undercover ICE agent, and I'm 100% putting that on my Instagram, telling people to stay away from you. So now you got these wonderful kids who were probably just napping. There's a chair there that's empty. So it tells me that you, as the old dude, go, "Hey, you kids get up here and you wrestle now." And these poor kids are like, "I don't want to, mister. I barely know you, Mr. Freeman." And he's like, "I want you guys to wrestle right now to find out who's bigger and who's better at this." Meanwhile, you can maybe see in the very background, there's a lifeguard inside of that tower who just peers his head in the direction of you morons and is like, "What the fuck are you guys doing on my beach?" Okay, we continue on with the footage. All right, he's in on a single. He's trying to figure out what to do with this. He could run the pipe here. He goes down. Now, literally in the slowest of ways, drags him down. This is the type of takedown that I do when I am old. It's not even that you get a takedown. It's that you ask the guy kindly to please fall. It's just like, "Hey, man, I don't want to do this anymore. Can you just please fall on your hip?" He gets to his hip. He starts trying to break away. But this grip is good. And now he's going to go ahead and start pushing down on the hands here, not getting much into it. I mean, if he pushes his hip a little bit more off to the side with the grip, not necessarily able to break it, he can't really turn. And this is where I feel the match is essentially just kind of over with. And yes, a ceremonial little trip there. Here's what's great about it, Tim. These kids are wrestling for your entertainment, and you still look bored.
I mean, you got to produce, dude.
So who directed this? Who was filming this?
My wife
was Stella. Okay. So
we were both in on it, man. Come on.
Of course you were both in on it. I know Stella's down to clown and is good-natured fun. But you are the one sanctioning this. So what happened after that was finished? Did they continue wrestling? Did you instigate it? Or were they wrestling and you said, no, put it on tape so I can put it on my show?
Oh, no, I got a few more minutes of footage. That was just like one part of the match. There was a little lull, and then they locked back up again. But, you know, I didn't want to eat up the whole time. That's gratuitous. I just wanted just a quick, like, hey.
What am I supposed to do with this? I don't even know what happens. It's literally just, you know what it is? It's not even a drill. These kids didn't even go for more than 30 seconds. They're like, well, that's it. did we get to a pin, or did something significant happen, Tim?
Actually, this was the most significant. They stalemated each other the rest of the time. Oh, there was a running double. The Huz got the double leg too. The Huz got over on Caleb. And
why is this kid named the Huz? What does that mean?
It's the nickname I gave him.
Wait, I knew it was you. I 100% said that's some old people dad bullshit name that you give, because no kid is like, I'm the Huz, and then walks around and shakes hand. No, that 100% was a right call by yours truly. Tim Freeman, why is the kid called the Huz?
His name is Hudson. He's a very sweet kid. His nickname is Huddy. I mean, he's a great kid. He's the kind of kid, you see these kids and you're like, there's hope. It's not all lost. But I'm like, dude, we're in the car driving, and I'm like, bruh, you're too good. Like, you're too goody two-shoe. I know you can't do it as Hudson, and your nickname's Huddy. You can't do it as Huddy. We're going to create an alter ego for you where you can really let it out and be the man you want to be, man. You could smoke, you could drink. And so I said, hey, listen, that's the Huz. When you show up as the Huz, all bets are off. The girlfriend gets scared. Mom and dad go back in their rooms. Kid brother doesn't say shit to you. The Huz, he is like a Fonz. He's like the Fonz, but he's basically criminal. That's the Huz.
What did the child say back to you about this?
He said, I will be the Huz, Mr. Tim.
Yeah, because you're probably driving and he wants to make sure he doesn't die. So he just agreed to whatever nonsense you were saying. So then when your son comes back, found out they wrestled, does he want to see the footage? Does he criticize them? Does he tell them they both suck? Like, what happens here?
No, he sits down on the chair and goes like, I'm wiped out from surfing. He was kind of the only one that could get up on the board and actually like do stuff. The other two boys are like, dude, we're born in Tennessee, dog. We can't surf. We don't know what that is.
Kids. All right. Well, let me just point out one other thing. Just everybody here, you already saw the match once. It is what it is. But I want to point out to you that life just goes on. This is kind of a metaphor for all things jiu-jitsu and wrestling, in that it matters a lot to us. But look how unbothered the rest of the beach is by this. And over here, I'm going to zoom. I don't know if I can zoom in on her, but I want to point out this woman has not turned a page in her book, but is just zoned in on whatever it is she's reading. Homegirl over here is too busy literally being bored to turn around and look at the action behind her. So if we ever talk about making the sport bigger, whether it's wrestling or jiu-jitsu, that's really what we're up against. All right.
Man, we did a great job of making something out of nothing there. Nice work.
It's essentially what we do, Tim. It's what we get the big bucks here for. Why don't we now go to some gallery comments? You found a few that were pertaining to one particular issue that we had here this week. So if you wouldn't mind setting it up, I'll drop them in here up top, Tim.
Yeah, these are pertaining to the dress code Instagram post for Kingsway Jiu-Jitsu that Gordon Ryan popped off there. And boy, he stirred up a lot.
Oh, this comment. Okay. Tim, I felt like that was maybe uttered once or twice, right?
Oh, yeah. 16 times. But you got to put it out there.
I guess the weirder part is Toehold has rash guards.
I mean, what would stop you from showing up with a Toehold rash guard?
If it follows the basic parameters, what are you going to do?
I mean, that money's as good as anyone else's money.
Depends on if the money shows up. Nonetheless, we move on. Here we go. The question is, or the post is, there is a lot of blue gi hate out there. Thank you. Many places, white or black, only for seminars and such. I have no idea why the blue gi gets excluded. This policy is fine as stated. No one should have a problem with it.
You wrote that. When you start talking about blue gis, I was like, I can't believe he's saying this right now.
Because it's a different color. What the fuck, bro? What? Listen, does it bleed on the mats? Does it create a huge problem? No, it's just an aesthetic choice. And when people make aesthetic choices, yeah, sure, unless you're the Mendez brothers, I don't really give a fuck. And I got news for you guys. If you go there, you subscribe to it. So that's all Gordon's trying to make you do. It doesn't mean that I, a person on the outside, can't have feelings about that's dumb. And I'm not going to ruin things by showing up in a black or navy blue, God help me, gi, where it's just like, how dare you? You read the policy. You know what we do here.
Yeah.
Cool. What happens if get this. What if somebody from the military shows up in one of their military gis? A camo gi?
Oh, well.
Yikes. Just saying, Gordon. I
$50.
thought you liked the troops. I guess we just proved you didn't. Nonetheless, it's the most logical thing Ryan has said in a while. You know why I like this comment, Tim? I like this comment because this person has waited and probably not weighed in on any stupid thing Gordon has talked about, but finally felt the opportunity to say this one time, I'm right there with you, bud. Literally has let anything he's had to say that has been incredibly stupid, and don't get me wrong, like a machine for dumb takes, has it. Nonetheless, he wanted to let him know, like, I applaud you, Mr. Ryan. That one was good. However, I'm putting you back on mute, and I will not see any of your posts for the next 6 months, which probably a very smart way to live life. We did get this. Tim, how good is your Spanish?
It's okay. It's a little blurry, though. Let me see if I can see it on the other side. Hold on. Mm-hmm. My Spanish is okay. I'll take a crack at it.
What are they saying here, Tim?
Is this is this the one from Brazukanov?
Mm-hmm.
They're saying, I don't know what they're saying. They're saying Alguien tiene para ver un pájaro sobre Argentina. Oh, it's the same guy. He's saying, is there anywhere where they could find it free? He's in Argentina and they have no money in Argentina.
So, sir,
what are they trying to find for free?
I guess he's trying to get a Flow link, and I think he thinks we're Flow, which God bless. We have friends at Flow, and we encourage you strongly to find a means to find a distributor that you can watch legally. But I'm also not going to go out of my way to give it to you in terms of the legal stream, because if you need to watch and you need to find it, you do you. You're in a different country. But I just hope that you understand that if that happens and we did it, we'll never be on Flow. And there's always a shot we might be on Flow. So nonetheless, we wish you well in your journey in this life. But he did decide to give us the English version. I just wanted to test yours. Free stream? I am Argentinian. No money in Argentina. So here's just something to understand here. This show is free. So we can't do any more here. Like, this is already free. If you don't like what it is and you're asking, can I get money for watching this show? Currently, still no. Likely never changing that. Nonetheless, we are very blessed to have your presence joining us, and we say thank you. So, Tim, as we close with that, tell the people where they can find you and what is coming up next, sir.
Inside BJJ, all your social media platforms. If you're out in Nashville, come see me, 10th Planet Nashville. Go see my boys in Stockton at 10th Planet Stockton. If you're going to be out in Las Vegas during the PGF Season 8 draft, hit me up, say what's up. I can't wait to get out there and see all the homies. Raf, it's great to be back. I can't wait to see you again. It's going to be good times. Great show today, man.
Love it. Appreciate you, Tim. I'm going to let you get on out of here. Much appreciation. We will see you guys actually back here next week. In a week, we should say what we're doing. In 1 week's time, we are doing the roast of Kevin Sherrill. A lot of you have wondered, where is Kevin? Where is Kevin? And yes, we actually still don't know. I wish we had answers. We don't. But nonetheless, we decided if he's not here, that's the perfect time to roast him, because what is he going to do? Can't say anything back. Can't try and charm his way out of a joke that we're making about him and his stalling. And much, much more. And we've already lined up a few guests who are more than willing to be on the dais. So we're excited about that. You'll want to tune back in this time next week with us here at the Bullpen, where we will be making fun of our friend. And Tim, is there anything that you think the people should know about before we do the roast of Kevin Sherrill?
Yeah, Raf, but I'm not sure what we're getting to.
Oh, okay. No, I was just gonna leave it at, do you have any like way to make people tune in for that?
Yeah, I mean, you should tune in because Kevin Sherrill's a rat, and I'm gonna finally tell you. I've been roasting Kevin Sherrill, okay, since PGF Court. He showed his true colors. All right, I told you, this guy, he leaves the toilet seat up. I told you that.
You did.
We know this. Changes his mind often. Got shitty hair. Okay.
Oh, dude, you know what? We have a rule on this broadcast. We cannot attack the hair. That's like the one thing he told us. He was like, literally bring up anything you want. The Daily Stack says, y'all should have Steven on for the roast. Steven will be actually one of the members of the dais. So we will have more information on that. But take a look at our channels next week for more information. But for right now, I'll say thank you very much, Tim Freeman. I will see you next week. Make sure to get your tux ready because we have some roasting to do, sir.
Let's go.
All right, guys, thank you so much for watching this week's installment of The Bullpen. We hope you enjoyed our presentation here. If you did, please give us a like, a comment, a subscribe, wherever you're watching this, whether it is on Inside BJJ, if it's on the Grappling Hour, my channel, anywhere you're looking at it. We appreciate that. And it says, he's never shown up for the match with Steven. Bro, he doesn't even show up for this show. Like, how do you think he's going to show up for a super fight? You have to get a contract with him. This is what we've learned. Nonetheless, very, very much excited to have you guys joining us for that. So again, the roast of Kevin Sherrill will take place here on another episode of The Bullpen. We're excited to do it. And you know what? I have to say this. I think it's the first of its kind. I don't think I've seen anybody else do a roast in the world of jiu-jitsu. And it doesn't surprise me that we will be the first because, much like WWE BJJ, trendsetters. You're welcome, America. Nonetheless, if you guys like the show, like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to find me at the Grappling Hour. We have so many interviews coming up. So many. We've already had them pre-programmed. If you missed any this week, Elijah Day, a.k.a. Elijah Bratton. And you also have Ed Murrow, Ed Medina, my apologies. I just watched a certain thing, so I said Ed Murrow. But Ed Medina, who is on Sparstar, and both those kids, standouts on that program. Very much enjoyed having them join us for some great shenanigans. So nonetheless, you guys, thank you so much for watching. We got some more PGF content happening on all of the Grappling Hour channels, so be sure to watch those. And in the meantime, you're going to see your boy here, RAF ESPARZA, doing tons more interviews and whatnot. And again, thank you to our friends over at Subversive. We had a blast last week, and we hope you like the show. Speaking of which, that's going to do it for us here at the Bullpen. Ladies and gents, it has been a truly, truly great day for grappling. Be sure to find out next week what happens on the roast. But for right now, I just want to say thank you so much for watching. It has been a fantastic day for grappling. We will see you back on the mats.